Welcome to Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
We are on episode 47. We are almost halfway to 100.
That's
the only thing I cared about.
That's like 500% of something.
I think we broke like 41,000 downloads. Pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Big shout out to all you people out there. You're awesome. Episode 47, Heist 3.12 just came out today, and we're going to get into that eventually.
That's right. After we talk about grass.
We got Wake. Oh my God. Don't even. It's coming. Big shout out to our new Patreon this week, Java Waka. Thanks a lot for joining the crew. If you have some questions or you're curious about what our Patreon is, you can find the link down below. We do an After Dark episode after each Forever Exiled episode, and we just yammer like some old hens.
That is a really good description of it. We just yammer. We just yammer.
Sometimes it's Path of Exile. Sometimes it's more grass. You just never know.
There's always a little bit of PoE, but whether there's a lot of
yeah.
PoE or a little bit is dependent on the season, because we're both grass folk. If you don't have a link below in your app, just go to foreverexiled.com.
Yep, it's on there. Because the new website's up. And now it's finally working. Those guys I worked with were awesome, actually. They fixed everything. So, all right, how was your week, Ty? We'll get into 3.12 in a bit.
No, the record button. I said hit the record button.
It's there.
Yeah.
We get it. We'll talk about it soon, but I want to know how your week was.
I don't know. They've been hyping it since the beginning of 3.11. I'm kind of bored of it already.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, my normal week was awesome. But I think last week I mentioned how insane this week was going to be for both of us as parents of kids in school, with this not just gradual entry to school, but the COVID gradual entry and all the different split times. It's a full-time job in itself, just bringing the kids to and from school. So I did nothing important around the house at all. It's messy. It's messy, and we're not eating very well, but it's good. It's good. And but it definitely also interrupted how I normally do a league start with my guides and filters. I had to dramatically change my process, and for me, and I'll get into it when we talk about PoE. But it was a good week. I got a lot of exercise. Let me tell you, my Google Fit, my steps are way over my goal thanks to all this walking.
I like that you say that you've done nothing around the house, and that interrupted your guides and filter stuff.
Well, you see, on league launch, there's 4 times a year, right? 4 league launches a year. So there's that 1 week beforehand where I'm getting information that's valuable to me. Nothing skeptical, but the gems come out, the filter information, all of it comes out. So that week is a non-house week, or in a when school's not starting that same week, it would be the housework suffers. But now, I can't. The housework was already going to suffer because of the crazy school week this week. So my guides also suffered.
You want to know what you need?
Oh, tell me.
A robot vacuum.
It'll fix it up real good.
It fixes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. How was your week?
I don't know. My week was fine. Knowing that this was coming out today, Heist was coming out today, and I knew I was going to be really, really busy. And for me, this tends to be quite a busy time anyway, work-wise. So I crammed everything in. I rearranged appointments. I rearranged clients. I said, look, I'm not available Friday. It's busy.
That's right. Or Saturday or Sunday or Monday or Tuesday.
But especially Friday, because I wanted to play.
Yeah.
It's new. It's not often that we get to play at league launch. We're not those guys. We're not typically the ones that are just going crazy with a league launch. So I rearranged all of my work to be insanely busy right up until the goal was to be busy till Thursday. And it didn't go as well as I wanted. I still was busy today dealing with stuff, but yeah, my week was just work, school. I think that was it. And I mean, come on, my grass, obviously. It's growing.
How's it looking?
It looks awesome. The green color is so good. The green, it's a perennial rye mix of elite seeds, if you're wondering. I know you are.
A perennial rye. What happened to the old
Perennial
school seed? Or did you just have you were seeding differently before you redid your lawn?
No, I had thought about going Kentucky bluegrass.
That's what I remember. That's what I was waiting for. And now
I switched it up.
So now it's now I'm going to call it Kentucky rye. Perennial rye. Well,
Perennial
thank
rye.
goodness your grass is perennial.
Yep. And so it's looking very good. I have a real mower on the way, which is a lawnmower without like an actual mower. It's got like a rotating blades. It's all manual.
Oh, one of those. Oh, like the old school ones. You mean like if you lived in the 1940s?
That's right, except that they're like high tech now, okay?
Yeah, and they're like way more expensive
they
than a
aren't
normal
cheap.
battery operated lawnmower. I'm
They're
not going to
not
ask
super
how much,
expensive.
but
It wasn't super expensive, but it lets me get a really low cut, a little bit better than a normal lawnmower. But more importantly, right now, while the grass is new, it's really light. So I'm not putting like a heavy lawnmower on top. I have been so happy with the response from people. They're like, hey, how's the grass?
Now, why are you going with a low
grass?
Why are you going with a low cut? You're gonna be fighting weeds the rest of your life.
Dude, I waited months for tenacity.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight weeds ever again.
Yeah.
I'm going to spray them. They're never going to come back. It's been incredible. My lawn is weed free and it will remain that way. I'm telling you, if weeds come to my lawn,
what are you going to do?
We're going to have an issue.
Like throw your tenacity receipt at it?
No, that tenacity will last me forever. You use this. I was telling you about this when you came over.
Yeah.
You use like half a teaspoon per 1,000 square feet.
Dang.
That's amazing. I don't know what that is in square meters. Sorry, but
yeah, it's funny. Hey, we used just as much imperial as we do metric this close to the border. But no, I'm interested in the tenacity bit. I have about 2,000 square feet, and
I told you I'm coming. I'm going to put my backpack on. I'm going to load it up. We're going to spray.
I'm overseeding this week. It's so perfect. It's rainy, and the highs are going to be low in the mid-teens all week.
Do you need a spreader? I can bring it over. I got a handheld and a push one.
Oh my goodness, you're just glorious. You know what? We'll just have a date. We'll have a lawn date. Bring your lawn over to my lawn.
So I also really laughed last week over the patch notes episode about the amount of people that were like, you know, I really liked that first episode you guys did. I think you should read them again. Somebody mentioned the music that we used to use for our intro. We used it, I think, only 2 times, maybe 3. Oh. It is terrible.
Yeah. Why? Oh, you mean just the free stuff that we found?
It's like an arcade game from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It is good.
It was just a free music that I'd found. I don't know why I didn't think to use PoE music, which makes a little more sense. Camille does a little better job than the like random 70s 8-bit terrible music.
Maybe they're equal. That 70s stuff's pretty awesome. You know what I would love to do on a total side note? Every time I wish I could put this somehow. I mean, it's not a filter thing, it's a game thing, but I wish somehow I could add it. Every time I level up in any game, I always just go Sega. And I wish somehow I could add that to the game. I love that the game does, but I would love to throw in a Sega as well.
As much as I know you have a disdain for EA, I always love that it's in the game. Just ever since like NHL 94.
Oh, good stuff. Man.
It was just always so good.
You remember the fantasy drafts we would do at sleepovers with the NBA games?
NBA 99.
We would be up all night with our fantasy drafts.
We just simmed everything. Forget playing games. We just sim.
We were so good at simming stuff.
Yeah, we really could sim well. Okay, you know, I think we should actually skip this time. Normally we would talk about how our PoE week was, and then we would talk about this week in PoE. Let's chat about this week in PoE first, and then we'll get into our PoE week. Because really, our PoE week is our PoE day, right? We're not going to talk about...
Kinda.
You didn't play Path of Exile this week, did you?
No, but it was all guide stuff.
Okay, well, we'll get into that too.
I don't want to forget my thank you. So if I forget my thank you, tell me about my thank you.
I certainly will. You've written it down. I don't know how you could miss it. But let's get into this week in PoE.
Because we're skipping it. That's why. I'll forget it.
You'll figure it out. You're a smart guy. Okay, so Heist came out today. But let's just talk a little bit about this week. So they released all the gems, obviously, leading up to Heist.
Yeah.
They actually did a relatively good job of formatting it, I thought, and with the alternate quality one, because both those came out, obviously, before release. This came out between when we got patch notes and now, right? Like we did the patch notes episode right on the Tuesday, really close to getting it out on the Tuesday. But gems and alternate quality gems came out the rest of that week. Did you read them? I feel like you read them.
You know what? I did. when I saw how repetitive they were, and not as a criticism, but now it makes sense. Like whoever's making them, okay, well, these types of gems work well together, and they all share the same three type of quality, or the what are they called? Different quality, alternate qualities. They show, they kind of make sense for them to share them all. So as I started going through, I'm like, oh, there's some patterns here based on the type of skills. So I did go through them all, but I really liked the format, like you said, because it was really good to just control F it, and you can skip to your goodies like zombies and temporal chains and such. So it was good. Yeah.
I didn't see them
stood
at
out
all.
to you? You didn't even look?
I didn't even see. No, I couldn't, man. My week was just like, I was focused on being free Friday. I was reading Discord and trying to keep up with like people talking about what was happening with the gems and the alternate qualities. I had zero interest in the alternate quality gems. I've said this literally since they announced them. I don't care. I'll see when they drop. The idea of building around something that I have no clue how I'm going to get, how often it's going to drop, how hard it's going to be to find. I'm not interested in that. It's cool that they did it, but I was not going to read it. I did look at the new gems.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was pretty much it. Did any of them stand out?
For alternate quality, no. But the thing that really excited me was, if you are familiar with me, my favorite. Well, no, like I'm talking about temporal chains all the time. It's my favorite skill, and I love things like zombies because you don't have to do anything. They stay up. They're designed to survive in a way. Like you have to help them, but designed to survive. So, when they showed the natural gem, the original gem, what is it called? What would be the word now that they have so many different
zombie?
temporal chains? No, the normal temporal chains, the natural one that's staying in the game, the core version. There it is, core.
Sure.
They changed that quality to simply increasing curse effectiveness, which is awesome. And then when I look through the alternates, I'm like, I just want the original one. That's the best. I like that. Just excites me beyond belief. So it was the original changes that actually stood out. One of the zombie ones did. That one was really cool. I think it was life regen. But
what about any of the new, like the actual new gems? Did anything stand out?
I like them for their description. I mean, they didn't surprise me because of that release. They showed them before. The Blazing Salvo one looks really cool. I love the concept of encouraging standing still builds and slowing, not for the sake of like trying to slow people down to my pace, but just I like, it'd be cool to see one of those speedy ultimate broadcasters like going to do through the map because they have their wall up and they have this bubble up.
Well, we'll talk about Heist later, but you're kind of forced to somewhat slow down in Heist. I like that.
Oh, totally.
And we'll talk about that more, but yeah, they definitely did.
What did any of the new ones stand out to you now that you actually have a choice of using them?
Not in a way that I'll use one right now. I will watch them because Flame Wall looks amazing. The base damage for Flame Wall just looks bananas. So I'm really curious to see how it places and how often. I'm really, really curious to see what people can do with that, and then what projectiles work well with it. And I was trying to help Ethan with a build today because he wants to play around with it. But yeah, the damage on it looked crazy. Alternate quality gems, I have no clue. Didn't see a single one besides what was posted into Discord.
Did you know there's different kinds of bananas? I didn't. For like 2 decades of my life, I didn't know.
What?
You said that you said that the flame wall thingy's bananas.
Yeah, what's a different banana than a banana?
I don't know. See, that's where we come from. There's bananas. There's organic and then there's not organic, and they're just bananas. But when I was in Brazil and I was asking for a smoothie or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, would you like a banana? I'm like, yes, please. Oh, what kind? The one that's normally yellow on the outside and white on the in. Apparently there's lots. I don't know because I didn't understand Portuguese at the time.
I think they were just screwing with you.
No, there's lots of different kinds. No, they'd have like a fruit stand in every kitchen I was in. There's a fruit stand and they all had like 5 different kinds of bananas. Crazy. Anyway.
So they introduced I don't know. It's not really introduced, but they announced their new league stash tab policy that they have decided to come up with. I'm just going to read just the tiny part that I thought was quite interesting of what they said. Or to me, it kind of just ties in the whole thing. It says stash tabs are one of the keystones to funding for development, and we will continue to develop them in future. However, with league content, our policy is now that any item that is essential for progression in the league, example, seeds for harvest, azurite for delve, or contracts from Heist, will have their own dedicated storage system in that league. they go on to talk about the fact that rewards from the leagues are up to you, whether you want to use a specific tab or whatever. But I thought it was good. I
It's
liked
nice
it.
that it's an official policy that league content is taken care of. That makes the argument. Now, you and I are on the same side of this either way argument of what is it, 4 or 5 stash tabs you get for free if you don't spend a penny? Is it 5? I
No
think it's
clue.
5. Either way, whether it's 4 or 5, it kind of just furthers the argument of the value of how free this game is. Like, I just love that league content is taken care of. Rewards, like you said, they're their own thing, but they're like items, right? Figure it out with the stash amount that you have and vendor or trade, whichever. I really like it. I really like it. It was actually it took me a little bit to get quite excited about it because from the wording, how it computed in my mind, I thought they were coming out with a policy for how they were going to release stash tabs, not how they were going to prevent releasing too many stash tabs. Now it makes sense, and I completely agree with what they're doing for league content. But I was kind of, for the first couple of days, I was kind of like, this actually doesn't change stash tabs at all. All stash tabs are still the same. You know what I mean? So maybe and still, how everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people were unhappy with the 3 league tabs that came out recently. What was it? Metamorph and Blight and something
They came
else.
out after the fact. They didn't come out with the league. So this isn't on the same page to me. I know we cracked jokes about it in one of the episodes. I made a comment about it, but this to me is actually really good.
Yeah.
And they use that as a reference to the fact that people got upset about it. My favorite part though is that people got upset about it, but guess what? A piss load of people still bought them. So but anyway, to me, this wasn't the same because those came out after the leagues. I totally agree with this change so that when you're playing the league mechanic, you're not feeling like you're stuck to find place for them, especially this heist. Oh my Lord, to have to put all the marks and put all the contracts and the blueprints and everything. It is really good that they have a storage for it.
And it's actually quite helpful. I'll get into this when you ask me how my week was, because I know you really care because you skipped it. But as a filter writer, how they release their filter information, it's not staggered or organized. There's no tier system. Like even when the seeds came out, there wasn't any indicator saying which seeds are superior to the other in a way, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing with all this rogue stuff, but there's a lot of content and a lot of tiered content. So when you actually see this tab now as a filter writer, sure, yes, I do have to wait until it's released and actually experience the content. But once it's there, I can see, oh, this type of contract and this type of blueprint are staggered in this way in the tab. So now I know that this one's better than the other one. Some based on wording might be obvious, but others not so obvious. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I know the response was mostly positive. I did see some, just the typical Reddit people, but overall I thought the response was good and I liked it. At least they were honest about it. They could just do this and not tell people.
Yeah.
They were upfront about it.
Always. Yep. Good.
So we're going to talk about Heist just real quick though, because we're talking about this week in PoE. There were obviously, well, not obviously, it's actually impressive that they had, well, is it impressive? I don't know. There were a number of hot fixes already. We've been live for almost 9 hours.
Oh, the game's been live for
Heist. Yeah. From the time that we're recording this right now.
8 hours, 42 minutes.
So they've fixed a number of instance crashes.
Did you experience any? I didn't. And I was on about 10 minutes after release. I haven't crashed once.
I definitely noticed an increase in one of the the amount of uniques that dropped in one of the chests that I opened in a heist. They toned that down, which, okay. I didn't get anything good, but I was like, dang. I was like, I'll take these. I didn't experience this, but I did see people complain about it, and it made me laugh real hard, was that the life regen granted by Oaks Enduring Cry had to be halved, and they doubled his cooldown because apparently he was just like immortal. Like people could not kill Oak.
I noticed he was really slow for me. I wonder when that hotfix was. Like I went and killed the other two, and it took time. The zombies are pretty weak, and then I'm at Oak, and I'm just like, oh man, good thing I brought SRS.
This was, I think, more of an issue you experienced. I didn't see it, but we'll talk about it anyway. The Rogue Harbor, they fixed the spam of other players' names. So now you only see the players who are in your party.
Yeah, so I start at solo self-found. right? And it didn't click that I'm still seeing people. I don't actually play solo self-found normally. I play just like as a personal rule, but I like to trade out. I don't buy in. So anyway, I'm in the normal standard league, and so I'm never actually in solo self-found. So I'm in solo self-found here. It doesn't click that I'm seeing other people running around in the, what are they called? Like the hideouts, the cities.
The
What are
Rogue
they?
Harbor
Well, and what's like Lion Eyes Watch? What's that? What do we call that? A city?
town
Town. Okay. So I see other people running around town. Doesn't really click. I go to the Rogue Harbor.
just explodes.
There's 1,000 people there. But the crazy thing is, and it didn't really register that it's not normally this way. But I saw everybody's name like I was in a party with them. Like when you and I are hanging out in a party, you're purple or green or whatever the game decides. But then I just see tags wherever you are.
Yeah, see, I don't see your name. That must be a setting that you turn on. I don't turn that on because I don't see your name above you.
No, it's because you're just always running away anyway.
I don't care. That's right.
So, but I went in the Rogue Harbor for the first time and I couldn't see the NPCs, like especially that first quest where it's like, hey, go talk to every single NPC, or not every single one, but there's 7 of them you have to go talk to. I couldn't find them. I had to look around, and then I had to go where there was like a big congregation of people, and I'd click, and then okay, sweet, there's dialogue, and then I'd look at the counter on the quest line and I'm like, oh, okay, it went to 3 out of 7. Okay. So anyway, like I didn't even notice it as an issue though. I'm just, for some reason, it was there.
There was a I don't know what you call them, I guess a system message that was being sent out by them very early on, telling people that if you were early in the queue, there was an issue with shaders not loading, so you should leave, let the game reload so that it would be fixed. And it was actually quite funny because I guess I didn't see it, but people were talking about the fact that Bex had tweeted that like, hey, it's probably worth it even if you are at the front of the queue to just reload because you're going to want them. And I was like, well, I didn't see it right away. And then I got into the game and it started spamming that message. And I was like, I'm not leaving. I don't know when I'll get back in. And it was bad. Like it didn't look great. And it was very choppy. When I reloaded later, it was quite fine. But going back to the Rogue Harbor, they still got work to do in that place. I don't like, because it's going to be a major hub, right? Like you're going to be in there all the time now.
Yeah, you can really stack up your currency. Unless they change that ratio, you could spend your whole game there,
which is great. And we'll talk about how it all works and what we both like or dislike about it. But I don't want another stupid place where everybody's MTX is just exploding all over the screen. And right now there's an issue where players can actually body block somebody at the stash tab. So then you could just be stuck and you can't use any skills in Rogue Harbor to get out of the way.
It's so weird that there's collision detection with users.
Right.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It's probably an oversight. It's not intentional. They're not like, hey, we want this to be an interactive experience. We want you to communicate. Excuse me, please, out of the way.
Oh, God. Yeah, you have to turn on like local chat or something. So hopefully, there's some issues with Rogue Harbor. There were other fixes and stuff. I didn't experience any of them. I'm not going to talk much about them because I didn't see any of them. But you know what? They fixed them real quick, which is good. And there will be more.
Yeah.
When they announce some of these, we bring it up just to make sure people are not always dicks. But right off the bat, people were like, this was supposed to be my starter league. And they were just being babies about it. Like, oh my God. One person, I'm sure he was joking. I'm sure he's a lovely person, but he's like, it's not fair that I didn't get to take advantage of the unique drops, like the increased unique drops. And I was like, you can't actually be serious about that. And then Mac release was pushed back.
Oh, that does suck for Mac people. There's a lot of people that are married to Macs in this world, and so it sucks for them. It's a great game. Oh, I would love it if every time you talk about, unless you're like really heated and hate the person you're referencing, whoever it was on Reddit or wherever. But normally, when you're laughing at someone, you start off with like that you're making fun of their voice and how they're going to sound and whine. And I would love it if they actually said that every time. You know what I mean? Everyone we didn't like, or we didn't like how their attitude was, it was, yeah. They didn't sound like us. We don't complain about cool things. That's right.
We complain, but I don't know. I thought, okay, so first off, let's get into Heist. We're going to talk about your PoE week, but it was a good load, or it was a good launch. I actually
Yeah,
thought Heist was good. It was bang on time,
for me it was. Yeah.
updated, no problem. I didn't have any issues besides the like choppiness, but it didn't affect me playing. I didn't crash. I didn't have any. I think the biggest issue we had was when we actually tried playing together and it was a frame rate issue, but that may have just been computer related on your end. We're not sure. We'll have to try it later.
Maybe. I was in the solo self-found and the rogue area was super smooth. And then when I went into the normal heist league, right, just to hang out with you, because what we want to do, we want to do a contract together, and it was like a slideshow, and like it was on the same. I hadn't restarted my computer at that point, so solo self-found the harbor was fine. In the normal league, definitely not. Now, obviously, there's way more people, and yeah, so their apparitions are flying around, and but yeah, it was. I just had to wait till you said you were ready, and then I looked back at the screen, found you, and went in your portal because it was choppy.
They really should just change those like general areas to just not show MTX. I know they will never do it, and I don't blame them for them, because if you see a cool MTX, you're going to buy it, or you might. You maybe are more inclined to buy it.
It's their free marketing. It's awesome.
Yep. It's just annoying. If they could just tone it down just a little bit. So how was your week? How was your PoE week?
I'm only act 2, end of act 2. I'm just going up the pyramid, and it's been a super smooth launch for me. I'm doing a necro zombies, and we'll get into it, but just to follow up with what you were saying, it's been smooth for me. My PoE week, as mentioned, because of the bell schedule, it's changed how I've had to release my guides and filters. I prioritized filters over guides, which sounds backwards, but filters are like the cornerstone of your experience. If you have a horrible filter, you're either missing vital stuff or you're so overwhelmed with stuff that you don't like the game, no matter how good the game is. You know what I mean? So I definitely prioritized filters, only had to do 8, right? Because it's just PC that's being released, and then I can just copy those to console. So I did all the dirty work. Had a lot of extra work to do because I basically did some house cleaning on all of my guides. And so I had to change my guide specific filters. I had to change like all the gear that only shows up for those guides or those builds. So it was busy. So it was focused. I got them all out on time, all the filters. It was good. And what else? The guides, because I didn't have time because of all the other priorities I had, I basically just put out a picture of the bare bones of each guide. So it's the skill tree or the passive tree. I should never say skill tree. It's the passive tree. And then within that picture, there's all the links and gems you need, armor, which of course it's always going to say anything you like, weapons, anything you like, flasks, anything you like. That's how it whirls. Pantheon, anything you like. But anyway, it's there. And so it's the comments are definitely a lot more staggered and vary at this point. There's a lot of criticism based on my choices for how I've made my builds because there's nothing explaining my choices, and so it's good. It's been good. I didn't continue my trigger happy build, which is my max block gladiator. It is officially retired.
Why is that? Is this because it wasn't minion?
Yes, but also because the gladiator ascendancy, if you're going max block, is too dependent on circumstance for good damage. If you wanted a true max block gladiator, right, without the glancing blows, it really spreads you thin on the tree, right? And I wanted to go with shields instead of two-handed, which helps. It actually means that I don't have to go for more block nodes on the tree. But the ascendancy choices, the keys, are they notables or keystones in the ascendancy? What are they called? I don't know. They're big, so let's go with keystones. The ones that give you the bonus damage, because blocking, of course, spreads you so thin that you're really scraping for a lot of damage. So one of the big perks for offense with blocking is the keystone. I forget what it's called, but based on the amount of times that you've blocked in the last 10 seconds, you get damage bonus associated to it. And so if you've blocked 80 times in the last 10 seconds, you're killing things quick. But if you didn't have that, you need a very nicely rolled one-handed weapon. I'm talking like a decent tier 2 physical damage increase and flat physical damage on your weapon. And I mean, that's sure, that's what you're aiming for, but you don't want to need that to do mediocre damage. And when you're looking at getting hit a lot within 10 seconds, 3 of the 4 conquerors don't have mobs and don't hit frequently. And even Cyrus. So I'm going into a Cyrus fight with a 6 link. I've got 2 tier 1 mods, the 2 basic tier 1 mods on my weapon. I'm set. Like there's, besides getting wicked influenced items, which I don't want my builds to need, I just want them to be perks. I'm going into a Cyrus fight and I'm like, take that. It's like, hitting someone with a pool noodle. And so the build itself is awesome. For 95% of the game, it was amazing. Easiest leveling in the world. It was awesome to have all those counterattacks like Riposte and Vengeance and Reckoning doing awesome damage. And the synergy between everything was really good. But because of those 4 out of 5 endgame bosses, it just doesn't make sense with that ascendancy. It never will, not until they change how your blocking perks work with the gladiators. So it got cut. And thank you, everyone, for all your support. I had an overwhelming amount of kindness from Reddit and from my 311 guides. Thank you very much for everything that you all said to me. It was very encouraging. And don't forget, no matter which guide you're following, that encouragement is what makes all the hard work worth it. So no matter whose guide you're following, even if you didn't really like it, make sure you give them a big thank you, because for most people, it is a lot of work for them. So yeah, but it was so busy for us that we've basically almost had to check out of Discord a little bit anyway, like compared to how much we normally like to. It's obviously busier because it's league launch. So feel free, message us as much as you want. But if you actually want us to respond or notice something, make sure you mention us at tags or at wrecker. Make sure that we actually see it so that we can respond to you if that's what you want. So this week was busy, and next week's going to be busy because I have to make my bare bones full detail. So it's going to be a busy one, but it's good. I'm excited for it.
So are you going to have your actual guides done pretty soon then?
Yes.
You're guaranteeing it by next episode?
No.
Yes, most likely.
1 or 2 will be completely done by next episode, but I'm not going to even though my wife, who doesn't like PoE, she's such a good supporter. She listens to every single episode.
I know, it shows off our gear, our swag.
That's right. Yeah, she does.
Awesome.
Don't tell her, but because I haven't done any housework this week because of school, but I'm not going to do housework next week because of guides.
That's pretty important. Important.
It is. Okay. Happy husband, happy life. That's what they say. So starting next Wednesday, both of my kids are in school full time. First time that's ever happened in our life. So I'm going to have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to hopefully just go crunch.
So you should have them done. You'll have them done.
I hope. But if not, I've told everyone I'm guaranteeing the end of the month.
By Friday.
End of the month.
No, you don't get that long. No, you're all right, guys. By the end of this week.
Yeah, that's right. I promise. By tomorrow.
That's right. All right. So we know about your builds coming up, but I want to know what you're playing in Heist. What's the go-to? Because you have four almost newish guides.
3. Yep.
So you had to give one some love. Which one?
Well, you know what? It was going to be 4, but this podcast, it's just so fun, but it's growing. And thank you, everyone. It's awesome. But because it's growing, the podcast kind of turned into my 4th guide in terms of time. So down to 3. Now, in terms of playing, though, I actually completely revamped all 3 of the guides, which means even slow-mo zombies, my oldest guide, my favorite guide, is different. So I'm playing my new zombie guide. It's called Bone Zombies. Yeah.
Ooh, clever.
I think it's awesome. It's using bone armor and bone offerings. And so I thought it was awesome. So I'm doing a zombie build, and it's going to crush the world. Also, it's okay. I definitely raised the alert level a little bit faster than I want to in Heist with zombies. I'm not going to be using meat shield, so I just got to get used to it. They run around the door when I'm trying not to.
Did you find that it went up that much? I didn't find the alert level was that bad with mobs, although I feel like it should still be slightly less than what it is.
No, I like where it's at as long as it takes into account how long the actual map is. Like, I don't know how it does that math, if it's always the same for alert level, no matter how big the map is, but I've definitely gotten to the point where I'm trying to be sneaky, right? I'm going slow. I'm pretending it's Splinter Cell. And I'm trying to aggro as few people as possible, because I did a whole bunch at the beginning. One thing I love about Heist is that you can do as much or as little as you want. I'm not short on contracts. I keep getting them. So there were a few where I just blitzed it. I tried it out. There were a few where I really tried to sneak. And there were some times where I was sneaking around and I maxed the alert level. because of my zombies. And I had to blitz it to the door and get my reward. And I was just using SRS. I decided to nix my zombies one time and try it out. Easy peasy.
All right, so tell me about your build, though. Well, then let's get into Heist, because 3.12 is boring, but our builds are awesome.
Okay, so my build, it's a pure zombie build. I'm not using anything else but zombies in terms of offense. I have big survivability on them, but I have almost every minion damage node on the tree there. I'll have about 190% life on the tree. Its damage mitigation is going to be, basically, I have 2 buttons. I hold down bone armor all the time. And then I will every now and then hit, well, I guess it's not death mark, predator support now.
Necro, though?
Predator. Yep. So it's a necro. I have glancing blows with bone armor set up, and everything else is just going to be automatic, including the offerings, of course. And we'll see how it goes. I'm expecting the mitigation to be good enough for late content. The zombies are pure physical. I'm using Flesh and Stone, Maim, and Pride. And the damage on paper is amazing. It's almost 3 times more damage than my slow-mo zombie build. So we'll see. What are you doing?
It's up in the air. I kind of
hate you. I just hate you.
It didn't go as, I mean, it's not bad. I wanted to do Glacial Cascade,
right.
And I will. I think that's still my goal in the end. I really wanted to do mines, but I did mines last league, so I decided to go with the good old Hierophant. I haven't done totems in quite a long time, so I'm gonna go totems. But right now I'm still just doing ball lightning with totems. They nerfed it, but it's really, really strong, and it's so easy to play because you just scale lightning. It's really easy to craft lightning wands. So
by nerf, did you mean balanced?
No, they gave it a good kick in the balls. they gave it a good kick in the balls. It's fine though. It does fine damage. I'm not having any problem. I think I'm in Act 6, just about into Act 6, I think, or maybe I'm in Act 6. I don't remember, but it's been fine so far. I don't know where it's going to go. I have no clue. I'm playing around with the tree a bit, playing around with which skills I like. I'm going to try. I've had a thing the last couple leagues about seeing what can I bind to left click. You know what I mean? Like, what can I bind to my left click for move? So last league, it was the detonate with the mines, which I did use.
Yeah. It's an instant skill, right?
Storm blast while I was leveling. Yeah. But now I'm on totems. I might try, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm debating.
I just freaking
might try like a guard skill or something.
I don't know if you can use a guard skill on a left click.
I think you can, but I'm not really sure. I'm struggling a little bit with mana, so I'm going to play around with the tree a little bit. Because if I can, let's say I can put this, just because I'm in the area of the tree, but if I can get a guard skill on to work on left click, then I can use something like Dynamo, which will give me 20% of my mana over 1 second every time I use a guard skill. And if I'm constantly just left clicking to move, I just always have mana. Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten that far yet. That's on my list.
Well, good for you. You're in what, Act 6? Act 5?
Yeah. I don't know. Act 6 or 5? 5 or 6. Yeah. It's been fine so far. The heist stuff. Okay, let me just finish my build thing. It's been fine. It's a Hierophant. It's fine. I've gotten the content up to this part without much of a struggle at all. But taking a slight jump to Heist here. Heist kicks your ass. Holy cow.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It got a lot easier for me once I got into totems. You know what I'll say with regards to another reason I wanted to go totems as well? There's just something fun about letting something else go first. You're like, nah, I don't want to go through that door.
Agreed.
I don't think this is going to be good.
You open the door and you're hiding around the corner.
Exactly. I'm just chilling while my totems are all like killing everybody. And Heist is actually, and I didn't even think it was going to be to this extent, but it's actually reminding me a little bit of Harvest in the sense that you kind of need to have it's beneficial to have some sort of damage that's preloaded or just ready to go, because some of those doors, like when I first started doing the Heist, I was like, oh, I love Heist. And again, I want to get into all the parts of Heist, but I really, really, really liked Heist, and I've been really enjoying the Heist. But good God, some of that stuff that comes out of those doors when you're not ready for it, and it's at like the same level as what you are.
I'm surprised they do that. So a situation that I'm thinking about for those that are listening is you open a door and 1,000 people shoot at you at the exact same point at the exact same time. It reminds me of when they originally introduced the new influences, right? And then all the poison guys or all the lightning guys, all those influenced mobs would hit you at the same time. And they've been progressively removing that. And then all of a sudden now there's a league content where they're all doing it.
And it's narrow. It's like, here's your tiny door, and then here's all the spells, and everything's just coming through it like crazy. Or like 40 guys charge and do like a shield charge right through the door. So totems have been wonderful.
The zombies have been okay with it. At the beginning, they don't have the survivability for that kind of stuff. So if you are stuck with zombies being your only minion skill, like if you didn't know, you're screwed. You can't really do that. But if you were bringing a secondary skill like skeletons or SRS, at least you have a chance, even if they're dying quick. But sometimes those enemies in that door, they'll start funneling through slowly, and it'll give you a chance to weed out the enemies a bit. But sometimes they don't. Like I remember, like I'm trying to get these enemies to come out. I'm not going to run in there. I want all my contraband, and they weren't moving. It was just nonstop. I mean, maybe there's something I'm doing that's triggering certain responses. I don't know. Maybe it'll get tweaked. But
well, I don't normally find like I have to. I try to keep my flasks like updated as I'm leveling, but Heist really kicked me in the ass and was like, "Hey, maybe you should be using your level flask," because I was screaming like a girl, just like trying to jump all over the place because my flasks are out. And at the time, I think I was using mines while I was leveling because I hadn't gone and done the ascendancy yet. It was brutal. I could not heal fast enough, and then I was out of them. And I died. I've died twice in a heist, and I don't like dying. And it's even worse when I hated seeing my stuff on the ground and knowing it was gone, but I loved it. I loved it. Like it made me so angry and happy at the same time. There's not many things that can do that. I was like just livid with myself. I was so mad, and I'm staring at my stuff, and I was like, that was awesome. Like that was my fault. I sucked. I didn't get through it. I do not want them at what I'm seeing right now. I do not want them to tone it down.
Yeah.
I like that there's a risk to getting out. And the only thing I don't like is the doors magically are relocking.
Yeah.
Like I'm going through the heist, I'm getting tibs.
Enemies can lock doors again.
Will they rebuild them?
Well, okay, yeah, if they're rebuilt, then sure.
Like there's just I guess in my head what I saw the heist being was you go through, you unlock, and what you unlock is going to remain unlocked, and that's where mobs are going to come back through, right? So when we talked about it, we were like, well, you're going to need movement skills. You're going to need something to try and get back out fast. And I'm not sure yet if I like it or not, because one benefit is it did slow it down, because when you try to now get out, you can't just sprint out. It's not possible because a lot of those doors have now relocked, and you've got to get, your rogue to, I don't know, whatever they do, cut it, bash it, unlock it, whatever it is. So I'm not sure yet where I stand, if I like that or not. I didn't at first because I was like, what the hell? Like, you just lasered that door. Why is it open again? I don't get it. But
they have super welders. They don't fight. They just go back and hide in the walls.
Have you lost anything yet to heist?
Yes.
Have you died?
Yes. My very first heist, I think I had 3 Alks, a Chaos, a Blessed Orb, and at that point, a whole bunch of Wisdom Scrolls, which were important. And
right.
And then I died. And it was one of those things where I didn't realize it was just going to be like 8 Gatling guns pointed at you at the same time. And I'm just like, and then I see everything on the ground, and I'm just like, oh man, that sucks. And what really hurt was after the fact, after I've done 6 more heists, I didn't get that type of stash again. I got nothing. I'm getting like a couple alterations and nothing. Yeah. So like I've had, anyway, it just definitely wasn't near the same thing. I think I get maybe an Alk per contract, but I haven't really done much. Like I'm at the end of Act 2. So
yeah, I don't know how many I've done. I would say in general, most of them have been quite good, but the ones that I've died on were always the best ones. Whereas like one of them had 9 Alks in one thing. I was like, I'm like in Act 3 and I've got 9 Alks. Not anymore.
No, we were talking about, was it our private league where we got to Act 4 and we're looking to spend Alks on gems and we didn't have any?
Yeah. Well, this league for me so far has been alterations because I was trying to craft the wands I wanted with the increased or added lightning to spells. And you can do it with a magic wand, an alteration, and either a white, blue, or yellow ring, topaz ring in the case where I want lightning. I could not find alterations. I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, why do I not have any alterations? But
I hope you don't find any and that you never get the flasks you want. And that I get really good flask rolls this time.
it is so different playing softcore though. Like I have not cared about, do I have a bleed? I don't care.
Yeah, isn't
don't
it
care.
different after
It's
you get a
so
little
different.
dab?
Oh my gosh. I would not, I don't know. I mean, we talked about doing a private league each league and we probably will, but man, Heist is hard. I at least found it hard. I'm sure there's people that are like, that are probably having no problem with it, but they're dicks.
It's no, you have to be careful with Heist. I don't find it too hard. I remember Syndicate
No,
was
that's true.
too hard. And you don't sound like you think it's too hard. I like that I have to be careful. I can't just sprint through a pack while I'm trying to escape and hope for the best. That would probably get me killed. And I like that. I like that I have to be careful. I am hiding around corners when there's a big pack of enemies around. And I think it's a good balance so far.
Are you struggling like I am with the idea of walking past a chest and not touching it? Because it is killing me.
Oh my goodness. Are you? Yeah. Coming from Dark Souls land where I am fine dying for a shiny. I know there's a trap. There's a shiny right there.
I'll
And
pick it up
and
die.
Yeah. Just as long as I get it.
That's right.
Then it's mine and I'll just come back. Yeah.
You get like 20 seconds when you hit the alert bar. So now what I've been doing is getting everything unlocked and then figuring out like, all right, can I get these 2 chests and still run as fast as I can?
That's smart.
Yeah,
That's
I
smart.
can't. There are some of these maps that are actually quite large. And I always look at it ahead of time and I'm trying to figure out like which route am I going to go? There are some that I've left like 5 or 6 chests and it's brutal because as you're leaving, they've got like a barrier over top of them with a bunch of chains.
Oh yeah.
Bunch of jerks.
They rub it in. But you know the solution. Hug the right wall, Justin. Hug the right.
You can't do that in Heist.
You hug the right when you're making your tree. You hug the right when you're mapping. You hug the right in your Heist.
I'm curious what, like, I was watching, obviously, as I was leveling. I did not get any of the yellow gold text things like I did in our private league. I honestly do not understand how people level at the speed that they level. Like, I'm not kidding, Ty. I was like in the top, I don't know, like 8,000 or something, 7,000 for the queue to get into the game.
Yeah.
It felt like by the time I was breaking eggs, somebody was entering Act 3. And I was like, how did you do? Like, I couldn't figure out, I can't remember exactly where they were, but I was like, no, that's not. And somebody hit like 26 or something. Yeah. And I was like, what the? I just hit like 6. How do you?
Like superb players, racers can get there in like 3 hours, I think maybe.
To the end?
Some people that I know that are insanely fast, some broadcasters that I like to watch are in 5 hours. But I'm like 3 hours in, not in my playthrough, but since launch. And I'm looking, I'm like, I think that's an Act 8 location. Pretty sure. I don't know. But I was a little disappointed I didn't get any yellow text. I'm like walking along, taking my time, let my zombies do the slow killing.
I tried going into my hideout thinking maybe I get like the nebula celestial hideout. Nope. I got nothing. And then what's really annoying is when all of a sudden you get somebody that's like first to enter the mud flats and you're like, damn it, I could have just gone up there. Somewhere that nobody goes or something, but
that's funny.
I was trying to think if I could go that fast. Like I'm trying to get into their head.
Yeah.
What is it just to do it?
Is it to get your name in the yellow text? You just took a screenshot and then you're done?
Like is the rush to, I'm trying to curate, because it's not to get to 100 the fastest, or well, you're not doing 100 in a day. So I'm just trying to figure out like what is their mentality? What's the thought in their head where they're like, all right, this is it. I'm going to get, I would love it. I would love to be 75, 80 right now because there are people that are already up there, but it's never ever going to happen. I'm just trying to figure out why.
They level like they map. That's just how they play.
I would think they probably haven't touched
Oh,
Heist.
I doubt it.
Heist is like, you go in there and it's like, hey, you want to just go have a chat with all these guys? Now, what do you think of the dialogue system?
I'm glad you brought it up. Really cool. I
Isn't
like
it?
it that it's
Yeah.
separated from like legit stuff. Like it's basically now it's 2 columns. I assume this is some sort of test to an introduction to
For PoE 2
or whichever. Yeah. But they have all the lore dialogue on the left, and then they have all the interactive stuff on the right. Like if there's a quest reward, or I assume that's where a quest reward would go, but purchase items, sell items, that's on the right. So I thought that was kind of cool. It took me a little bit to realize that I had to sell my artifact to the fence. I thought there would be like a button, like a fence button, not like it wouldn't say fence, but it would be like give artifact.
Did you read their dialogue? Like when they told you to
I
go
didn't
talk
read
to each
any
of them?
dialogue. No. I don't read dialogue.
I did.
What? Whoa, you're like a
wasn't in a
lore
rush.
pro.
I wasn't in a rush, but I was curious what it was.
Who needs yellow text?
Yeah. Got it. Done it. I don't want to make people feel bad. I actually did
private leagues of one person. You make private leagues of one person just so you can see your yellow text.
Like, I did it all.
Hashtag worth it.
Yeah, I know. I actually read it, and he does tell you about selling the artifacts to him. The one thing that I did like that I was worried about is that he also sells everything. Like, you can sell anything to him. Because I was worried that he'd be the only artifact is what you could sell to him, and then you have to leave and then use another marker to get back. Now, did you know that if you go on a heist with markers in your inventory and die, that you lose those markers?
That's dumb.
I don't like that at all.
They're not contraband.
They were talking about it in Discord. I just assume that it's true. This is just
I haven't experienced it. I lost mine. But I didn't realize it.
It's so bad.
It doesn't seem like it makes sense. It
they
seems
didn't
like it
drop
conflicts
in the
rules.
heist.
Right. They're not contraband. They didn't have a contraband marker. They just dropped from a normal map. And I didn't lose my wisdom scrolls that I also got from a normal map.
I don't understand it. And so what I've been doing is throwing my markers into the what do they call it? The heist stash or whatever. And the one nice thing is you can pay, like it will withdraw from there for any of the things you have to pay for. So I've just been throwing them into that storage, but I do not like the idea that you could, because can you lose contracts the same way? Do you know?
I hope not. No, I don't think so. But I don't remember what I had when I died. I remember seeing the Blessed Orb, the Alex, and the Chaos, and I was like, screw you. That's all I thought. I didn't think
Hopefully
of anything
it's an oversight.
else.
Hopefully it's a mistake.
Yeah, I hope so. Now, I was curious. Now, obviously, I'm only in Act 2, so I don't know what other rewards are. When you trade in your artifact, so far, all I've received is more, what are they called?
Markers,
right. But I'm getting markers for maps. Like, is it just more markers? That's it?
Yeah.
And the only thing I can do with markers is pay someone to join my heist, right?
You're paying them, but you're also paying like the whole row, like they take a cut. But I thought the same thing as you. And I was like, boy, these things are probably going to get stupid expensive or something, because it just doesn't make sense. I'm getting all these markers. I got one of I want to say it's called a blueprint. I can't remember. There's the contracts, but then I got this other one and it made a very loud noise. I went and checked with the baker guy or something. I can't remember. He's right above the guy that you sell to. And I put it into there. Holy cow. To unlock rooms is very expensive.
Okay.
Like it's a level 40. I don't know. Again, I think it's called a blueprint or something, but that's not even the like grand heist stuff, right?
That's just one of them.
Yeah. Just to unlock this one room, I think was 1,600 markers.
Interesting.
And I can't remember what it was going to give, but yeah. So
1,600. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I assume they become a high currency. I do like that you're always getting like a relatively higher amount as a reward from it, except the stuff that you're doing, because there's also ones that are specific to the rogue. So like a cursed specific quest or Tibbs.
Karst.
Yeah. So I like it. I've had a lot of fun with it so far.
Me too. And we did a little test in terms of rewards, and you were level 40 something.
Yeah.
And I'm level 20 something. And we did
level 21.
A level 21 contract so that I could do it. And our reward was the same. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, because we both got the unique and it sold for the same.
Yeah, both dropped. So all the items that dropped normally, all the contraband that would normally drop, the normal items, that had the same drop rules as every other map, right? We have it set on permanent or temporary allocation, right? So it's grayed out for a bit. So we got to see that. But we were guaranteed to each get an artifact at the end, being successful. And not one of us died. So that'd be interesting to see what would happen if one of us died and one didn't. But we both traded in our artifact and we got the same price no matter our level. So it was cool to see that the reward level is based on it's not, there's no like fancy algorithm based on your character level as well. It's just, you did a level 21 contract, so here you go. Here's 165 thingy things.
Yeah, the only thing I don't think I paid attention to, we'll have to do it next time, is if it's your contract and you load it up, and let's say Tibbs is coming with us, he's going to gain experience from that. Is it just your version of Tibbs that gets the experience? I didn't actually check that.
No, I don't know either.
We'll test that out. I am curious because I'm actually still fine with it. I mean, I would love it if both did. In fact, I think that would be amazing if they both did. But I do like that the drops are the same. The marker rewards are the same. And to me, when I saw this blueprint thing, I was like, okay, I can actually see how this could be quite fun co-op later, because you're having to figure out like, where do you have enough coins to do this? And what are the rewards? And if just us getting to play together means that we're going to get like, you get one, I get one, and we can now go and play it.
I can give you my markers and we can share our stash. It's one nice thing about their policy on doing their best to make everything tradable. I assume that markers are tradable.
Yeah, well, maybe they probably are, but even still, now I'm seeing what they talked about, where I could go, hey, here's this blueprint. I don't have enough coins to unlock this room. Can you unlock this room? Because so that we can run it. Because like one of the tiny rooms that I could unlock was only 280 coins, and it was a currency room.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, I'm really curious to see how it plays out. We're relatively new in. I'm sure by the time people are hearing this, they're like, oh my God, you guys.
I hope everybody talks. Every time you talk like that, I hope everybody talks like that. But I think one thing that GGG was referencing before was, yes, both of our rogues will, or I mean, however many are used, they'll all improve. Like mine will and you will. That's, from what I remember, that's how I remember that conversation anyway.
Be cool.
I'm excited to play more of it though. I'm excited to at least finish Act 3 next week. It'll be good.
You mean during After Dark?
Yeah, that's right. After Dark is going to be us.
It's going to be an awkward After Dark. I'm like, so. That's
anyway. Right. Now, hang on. Did you check out any of the new MTX? Did you buy a supporter pack? You always get supporter packs. Did you get any?
So I'm a little confused. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't.
You can't. Last league, you screwed it up. Oh, this is awesome.
I thought I bought the black one. Because of the whole mishap that happened with regards to our giveaway for the last one, I have a lot of points.
Yeah.
And so I did finally get the music thing for my hideout.
Oh, you got the music box finally. Good for you. I strongly suggest the Ascendant theme. I'm going to WhatsApp it to you right now. Ascendant theme, and I'm going to spell it incorrectly.
So I had a lot of points. So I was like, well, maybe I think what must have happened in my head was, I'll just wait. But I thought for sure I had gotten the black one. But I think what I actually did was, that's what the guy who won wanted, like as part of his $120 win was. So I think that's what must have happened, because I could have sworn I had that MTX and I was looking through it like, what the hell?
And you don't have either?
No, I have neither of them.
Well, what about your points?
I have like 1,600 points. I'm just sitting on points right now.
Because is that how much you had before?
Mishap.
Because it'd be a weird value if you did buy something.
No. I did buy some stuff when I realized I had so many points. But I don't remember what. But, portals. I bought a couple portals.
Oh, good for you.
Why are you asking me about?
I have $10 kicking around, and I'm going to check out a portal.
They had a sale on a couple, and it was a cool one.
Well, I'll take a look. I have a whole bunch favorited or on my wish list, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Now, I was curious because I switched my guides around, and I haven't used Animate Weapon besides the test that I was doing for this, but it's a perfect fit for my build. So I'm like, you know what? I was talking last episode about how I really like MTX, but I don't actually like changing the armor of how my character looks. I just like changing the skills, like aura effects, stuff like that, pets. And so I was like, okay, well, yeah, let's see. I mean, animate weapons been around for forever. I mean, the developers have been complaining about it because it's like the bane of keeping tons of normals on the ground all the time, right? For all their loot filter fixes they want to do. So I'm like, it's been around for forever. I got to see what's available. Guess how many skins there are?
41.
One. Guess which one it is?
It's got to be Celestial.
It's Celestial.
There's more Celestial
like
coming
an
too.
8-year-old skill. I don't know how old it is, but it's forever, and it's Celestial. That's it. One skill, Celestial.
So did you get it?
No, I'm not getting it. Oh my goodness. They keep changing what Celestial looks like. It was the black hole. And then it came with stars. Okay,
here we go.
That's cool. But but then they added gold to it. Remember when they added the whole Celestial armor? It was like all gold plated and stuff. And then now there was this other one. Was it that? Yeah, I know you do. And you got the Celestial zombies too. And then, but I do actually really like the Celestial cat socks you got me from ExileCon. That was very nice of you. Yeah.
It's the only thing I didn't take home personally.
No, it's the one thing that you knew that I would hate, but secretly love at the same time. But no, and then they came out just recently with the Warcry Celestials. They look cool because they have constellations in the background.
Yeah, they do look
cool. But anyway, it's changed
right.
like 20 times. I think I listed 20 things, right? That's probably it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. That there was one, and it was Celestial. It wasn't even like blood dripping from a weapon. It was just starry.
Why would there be blood from a Celestial?
I don't know. That's way more weapony than stars. Hey, okay, so think about this. I'm walking around in like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. I'm Aragorn, and I'm walking around. I'm like, hey, check out the stars I painted on my sword. No. Hey, check out all the blood I have on my sword.
There isn't a whole lot of there is, but the MTX that they tend to focus on is more the fantasy style versus the realistic army medieval style.
You're not going to go wrong with blood in a gory Path of Exile game.
I can show you some of their MTX that are like gore blood based. It looks like my guy's just like spurting. That's it.
Yeah, no, I have one of like the vampire. I have one of the portals. I forget what it's actually called, where it's like this big, tall thing of blood and it has the candles on top. Oh, I freaking love it. I'm fine with that. Goodness me. Give me that on my animate weapon instead of constellations. It's not even the constellation one.
We need more constellations.
Speaking of base types, do you remember they were talking about after they'd had good success revamping the two-handed swords, they were saying like, we're going to incrementally do all classes, or I guess.
I remember you saying it. I don't actually remember.
I'm pretty sure I remember it exactly word for word, them talking to me directly saying it. Anyway, I was kind of expecting there to be another base revamp this league. You know, just like for the core content, whether it be one-handed swords, whether it be wands, whether it be this, because they did staffs or staves. Sorry, staffs isn't a real thing. Staves and two-handed weapons. So I was expecting something else. I mean, it didn't happen. So as a filter writer, I want it to come incrementally because I don't want them to just redo 8 base types or classes all at once.
I think there was a lot of changes happening in this league. So adding or doing base types might have been a lot. Yeah, or like not a lot, but just additional.
Very good point. You want to make sure all these new skills work well. I mean, that's 900 skills with different qualities that need to actually work or they're pointless. So that's a good call.
I read some of them that were posted. They were pretty useless. Some of them are literally useless.
Use the core version then, I guess. But I guess the experimental base types
looks cool.
The thing that they need to really focus on and make sure are working. So while leveling, I had crazy layouts.
Constantly, like consistently?
Almost every map was like turned upside down and inside out. It was like not the normal set of, I don't know, 2 or 3 that you'd be used to experiencing. And it started like it triggered something in my memory where when I was leveling these other 2 characters on console this last month for guide purposes, I was getting like, again, really weird layouts. Like even today, Oak, he was like 2 feet from the gate. And then the portal where Oak normally is in Act 2 was way to the right. I've never seen it to the right. It was crazy. So anyway, have you had weird layouts recently or for the last month, like when we were playing the private league at the end of the league? I feel like it's like they've secretly done more randomizing as they're getting ready for their big sequel.
The only one that I did in this league so far is right after you do cracking the eggs, and you're gonna go get the, what is it, Dweller in the Deep or Dweller of the Deep or whatever. Normally, when you come right to that waypoint, you can typically go toward, like you love to do, just follow the right wall, but it's normally the bottom right, or I guess it's actually, if you looked at the grand scale of the map, it would actually be the bottom left of the map is where the entrance to go get the Dweller is.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I always do. I typically just follow that right edge so that I can go in there and get it. This time I followed the right edge and it led me all the way around, and then it led me up to the bridge. And I was like, wait, but if I'm at the bridge, this is the wrong way. So I went past the bridge and it was up in the top left. That part I've actually never, ever had before.
I've had top left before. For me, it was top right. And then the bridge was far left. Anyway, it feels like they're like, sorry, I might be like, I'm so into this direction thing that I'm like, oh. But no, it just feels like, and I mean, that's awesome. I love random, everything, random. And so the more random that's in there. And I heard them saying something a long time ago in reference to PoE 2, that they're really trying to make their technology capable of a lot more randomness within their maps. So
I'm sure racers love that.
Nah.
Anyway, yeah, I only had it once. The rest of them have all been relatively normal. So your filters, did they all get done in time? Are they at the top? I haven't looked.
No, and you know what, tie killer, out of nowhere, just like shot past me. So all three, I was holding them up, and then all of a sudden League Start happens, or like the last week before League Start, and it was like all of a sudden all three shot past me. So I'm still top page.
That
but,
counts.
And you know what? The numbers probably, I don't care about the numbers, but the numbers probably would have gone up if I had my guides completely done, because there's a section that leads people to the filters if they want something guide specific, or if they like my layout but they don't want it guide specific. I have it for everyone, and that's not in it because it's just bare bones. So the normal influx of numbers that I'd see aren't there. Podcast, right? That link's not in there right now, so gotta get that out.
Is it not?
It normally is in my guides, but I just have bare bones. I just have a picture right now. So as soon, hopefully I get it out quick. But it was a weird. So one complaint that I've always had towards GGG and how they present filter information, and it was a big issue in Harvest, was they just throw names at you. And only if you're NeverSync or a couple other people do you know if this thing, like if how to classify and categorize these names, right? Is this a base type? Is this a class? Right? Like, is this, like, they just give you two columns and you're supposed to know what to do with it, right? So for example, there's a whole bunch of rogue equipment that's going to drop in this league. I haven't come across too much of it because, like I said, I'm in Act 2, but there's 4 different cloaks that can drop, right? So they're heist cloaks. There's a torn cloak, a tattered cloak, a hooded cloak, and a whisper woven cloak.
Obviously.
So I can assume the torn is the worst and that the whisper woven is the best. I could try and tier it that way. But nothing says that, right? There's 4 heist brooches. There's a whole bunch of heist tools. Some of them seem like they increase incrementally, others not. There's not 4 of everything. And there's not really anything even telling me which one's the base type, which one's the class, if even that's the system that it is. They just expect you to know. And it's kind of frustrating, right? Like, it's basically geared to people that always guess correctly. And when you have your filter stuff and you encourage it from your website and your default filter royally sucks, it's nice to even just having a header that says base type and class at the top of these 2 columns, these lists, would be amazing. It doesn't have that. I put in a request this time. I mean, I do it every league, but I put in a request like, hey, it would be awesome to know your classes and base types and how these are categorized, or, ranking systems. And they actually did that. They re-edited this list. And so with the experimental base types, before they were just blurted out, just the base types, like it would be the assembler wand, the hollow point dagger. Not all of the items end in something obvious like scepter or staff. Some of them were blade. Okay, well, is that a one-handed blade or a two-handed blade? You don't know, right? So they came back and they actually did say this is the item class and this is the base type for all the experimental base types. So that was really cool. But they made a lot of mistakes with how they introduced stuff with Harvest. So it was a little bit better this time, but they forgot a lot of information with their original filter release, right? With all the details. And then they fixed it, but it basically had more errors. They accidentally removed wands from the list completely. They had one-handed swords and two-handed swords with the exact same base types, which is incorrect. They were still missing stuff. So they actually re-edited their filter information about 4 or 5 times. And I'm very thankful they did. I'm very thankful they weren't apathetic and just added it later. It was great that they went through and made sure that it was correct. Hopefully, next league, 313, they have nice columns so that people that want to get into filter writing have a little bit more help. But it was really confusing. I thought that I missed something, or that they only gave their information to Neversink or something, because normally what happens when patch notes get released is there's an announcement in the announcement page that says, hey, patch notes have been released, and for those community creators, here's your JSON data for the passive tree, here's your filter information, blah, 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 blah. They didn't have that. It was just patch notes. And for hours, a couple of us, well, not a couple of us, because there's a lot, but
2
filter creators are looking around like, what's going on? What's going on? And there was a lot of inquiring on Reddit and their website. So eventually, a few hours later, the filter stuff got posted, but whew, scary. I thought I wouldn't have any information until league launch.
I actually thought it was hilarious because it was on Tuesday after we finished recording, and I was trying to finish editing, and you were ready to go to bed, and then you left to go to bed, and then 10 minutes later I posted, you're like, oh my God, I'm up.
I did one more check on the announcements page before I went to bed. I'm just before I'm getting undressed and going to bed, I'm just check one more time. Swipe. Beep. Come back down, text you, I'm back on.
That was awesome.
So I spent some time figuring it out, but it was nice. Despite the complaints I have with how they released their filter information, I'm very thankful that they were caring enough to actually put it out. I mean, it's important for them, but I'm very thankful that they put it out for everybody, all the fixes that they had. But imagine the first 3 or 2 lists that they had didn't even include trinkets. Imagine if you were missing trinkets, if they've actually forgot. That's one of the most
I'm trying to get on the same
things.
page as you. I'm trying.
Think about how excited we were for trinkets. Now think about missing your first 5 trinkets.
Can I tell you where my head falls with regards to filters? Or more specifically, writing and creating your own filters? I think that I would rather play with the default filter than have to write my own filter. I just don't have it. All the stuff that goes into it, I couldn't do it.
It's so easy.
I would rather have the default filter and just let my screen explode like it used to, instead of just being okay, I have to type all this stuff out and figure out what this color is and that drop. Nah.
When you have a system set up, it's super fast. But here's the thing. As soon as you and I finished our contract, you know where you went? The Azurite Mines. There's no way you would enjoy the mines with the default filter. Not a chance.
Yes, I would. I could do it.
No way. Maybe if you hit Z so you can see anything. Is it Z or Z? What's Canadian?
Or Z.
Where's Z?
That'd be a funny mod, like a private server mod. You can't load a filter.
Guess who wouldn't join? That wouldn't be a forever exiled one. That would be a tags.
Especially if you could also increase the quantity by 1,000.
Yeah, because they'll let us do that. That's right.
I just want people's screens to be entirely full. I remember it used to crash the game when it was as much in certain things that you could do where there was so much on the screen that if you actually hit, I think it was holding down Alt or whatever is the one that shows all of it.
Yeah.
Because you can hit Z, and then when drops drop, you'll see them for half a second, and you've got literally a fraction of a second to pick it up. But I do remember back a long time ago where there were actually instances of the game crashing just because of all the crap.
That's crazy.
Let's bring that back.
It's come a long way. It's come a long way.
Did you see the challenge icon? It's very different.
It's very sexy. I never noticed. I know maps change and I don't know who comes up with how maps are shaped. But they always look different each league. I never noticed Now, I don't care about challenges, so maybe it's just because I'm not paying attention, but I never noticed challenge icons changing from league to league. I always thought they were the same shape, same color. They're different. They're
Well, yeah, they're red.
Sexy red, Justin. They're not red. They're not bright red. They're like maroon, get it on red.
Yeah, they're very cool looking. It definitely stands out.
Yeah, it does. I like it a lot. That'd be really cool if they kept changing it each league based on.
Maybe it's red because it's Heist. I mean, a lot of the leagues recently have been bluish.
Man, maybe. I like it.
I think it's great.
Watch, we're going to look back at all the challenge icons and they're going to have been dramatically different.
Yeah, like
every
super
league.
different.
Yeah. There was green, there was yellow. One looked like a pirate ship.
It's red.
Yeah. Gigi's sitting there thinking like, wow, these guys are unobservant morons. Yeah. So we had a lot of more talk normally than we would. That doesn't make sense. Let me try again. This week, we talked a lot about div cards, or not a lot, but definitely a lot more than we normally would have. Normally, a div card would come out and be like, we probably wouldn't have even talked about it. It'd be cool if we got it, but that's nice. But because of Bex's cool one, the really cool story about the guy who lost his brother, that div card, the 19 mirror div card, the journalist div card. Like for some reason, there were just so many that actually attached to us this time around. So I was thinking, no, I don't have this kind of money. If you were to make a div card, what would the reward be? Not like the picture, not the saying, not the slogan. What would the reward be for you? You know?
Do you know what yours would be?
I honestly, it was going to be, I have no idea, but I love the question. I just thought of it though. Yes.
Tell me yours while I think.
A 23 temporal chains.
How many cards do you need for it?
One, and you can farm any section for it. No, I don't know.
Oh, that's boring.
No, I don't know. That's my favorite skill, so I don't see why it would be. Or maybe it would be like, no, I think that would be it. But it's hard because you want to pick something that matters. So if it's a unique, that might screw up your value later on because uniques can change at any time, right? To accommodate the game. So a lot of people like to throw their legit $1,000 or whatever it costs to come up with a div card. They like to throw it at currency, right? Because currency is always something that's going to be in the game. So, but for me, like the game's all about gear, like especially if currency is hard to get. So it's hard.
I can't think of a real thing, but here's what I can think of. I would want, like, I'm trying to think, maybe a ring or an amulet that, unbeknownst to the rest of the people in your party, left becomes right becomes left, and up becomes down, and down becomes up. And not all the time. Just randomly. Only because I just can imagine, only for the first time. I would only want it for that very first time that we get to play together. And you're like, what the? As you're puking.
I'm writing up bike reports. I'm like, no way.
I can't think of a real one. That's a lot of work.
That'd be awesome. No, I don't think it'll go. But I do like it. You remember when Fallout 4 came out? They let you interact with your inventory via an app on your phone or tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there were a lot of videos of people screwing around with their friends, as you would say, unbeknownst to them.
Did you see some of those?
Oh man, they made me pee my pants. Yeah, it was great, especially because, and you know what's funny? This is getting serious now, but like you see the people and they spaz and they're really immature about it. And you're like, oh man, you know what? That would actually probably be me. Like I would be pissed. And I'm really embarrassed for that person right now. I feel really bad. And then you see the people that are like, just laugh about it later. And I'm like, wow, that's what I wish I would be like. You know what I mean?
If you watched yourself later, you'd have to laugh. Like there's
later, sure. But I would be a prick. I would be so mad.
Oh, if I could do it to you, I would do it in a heartbeat. There's two guys, they're the slow-mo guys, and they do some really cool YouTube videos. But they had one like that. I don't know if you've seen that one, but I have to show it to you sometime because he's hiding in the back by a couch and he just keeps like throwing stuff onto the ground. And the guy is just like losing his mind.
Hiding in the
there's
kitchen.
Something wrong with the controller.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
So that would be a good div card. I don't think it'll go though. Can I ask you next week? Hey, have you thought of your PoE tattoo yet?
No.
Goodness. I can't add another long-term question to you.
You know what I did think of though? This week, I want the new helmet that Bex's Unique is the design for, and I want to be able to 3D print it. It looks so cool.
Has she revealed what it is yet? No.
Not what the item is, but they did it's a mauve something, or I don't know what's helmet, but they showed the picture of it.
Amazing green poison dripping skeleton with massive fangs. Yeah, it looks cool. Is it an actual helmet, or is that just the image on the card?
I think that's the 3D art. Like that's what I don't actually know. I'm not sure, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, I want to. Now, I guess this hasn't actually been brought up in our normal episodes, but After Dark people will know that I've gotten into 3D printing. And that was the first thing. That was the first thing I saw. I was like, I want to do that. I actually, just as a side note, before we end episode 47, because this is a fantastic episode, one of our listeners messaged me, and he is some sort of 3D printing genius and helped me out with, getting my 3D prints a little bit better. You know, as we say in the biz, Ty, you know, the slicer's what. I don't say.
Oh man, so you've got this one wheel club you're in. You got a 3D printing club. You've got a lawn club. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, my wife was talking to me, and she would. Oh my goodness, she can't wait for. Yeah, we do that on occasion. On occasion. How many kids do I have? 2. So we've talked at least twice.
At least twice.
No, she was thinking about how great it would be if your neighborhood became like the one-up neighborhood. So your neighbor, right, that stares at you is like looking at you like, douchebag's growing grass. I can grow grass. What are those, like LED lights? I got some LED lights. Well, he's only got them on the roof. I can do better than that. And then the people across the street, they're looking at, oh, the staring guy. He's doing grass and LED lights on his bushes. Hey, Tom, we can do better than that. And then, you know, all of a sudden you're like the one-up neighborhood. And it's like, my wife can't wait to see what your house looks like next year for Christmas.
The benefit of my neighborhood is that everyone that lives around me is 70 plus. So they don't care. It's just me. They're all like, what an idiot. He tore up his whole lawn to make it green.
I love your neighborhood, man. Well, I guess it's our neighborhood, but your street's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're all old. When when they die and other people move in, then maybe they'll be like, oh, damn it, we got to keep up with this guy. And I'll be riding my one wheel out there being like, you can't. You just can't.
Yeah, that's right. With your wrist guards and your helmet, you're looking around with your scowl.
Like, super safe, guys. Super safe.
Hey, this is my neighborhood, bro. We got a new neighbor. Haven't seen him yet. Don't know if they're old or young, if they have young kids or crazy teenagers. I don't know.
Oh boy.
All I can tell you is they better drive slow or they're out.
All right. Let's wrap up episode 47. Heist is out. Hopefully you guys are having fun. We'll see you on Discord. I did not get a tabula from Hillock, so it's kind of a busted league.
Quit and restart.
Whatever. It's okay.
Throw your game in the garbage.
That's right. Anyway, hopefully you guys are all having fun with Heist as much as we are. We'll see you guys on Discord. This has been episode 47 of Forever Exiled, a Path of Exile podcast. I am Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days, but you can call me Mr. Day. I'm just kidding, but it does sound cool.
You can find out more information in our show notes below. We've got a website, foreverexiled.com. It's new. It's awesome. Check it out. You can leave us a message. Oh, that's going to become a thing. We've actually had messages left for us, and I think we might turn that into a thing. I'm not sure. We'll see. But we do have messages, and big shout out to people who have left us messages.
He's so excited. He can't even
It was super nice that people were saying hi. What else? We got Twitter, foreverexiled82. Discord, the link's below. Come join us in Discord. Patreon links down below. You can check all that information out. And I feel like that's it. Oh, you can find WADs, builds, and
never heard of them,
etc.
And filters. That's like the only thing that's up.
Okay. Well, you can find his stuff. It's linked below. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll catch Patreons in After Dark and everybody else in episode 48. Peace.
See ya.